Hello, New York Yankees fans. We have brand new exclusive videos and the latest news for you. Before we get started, we'd like to invite you to join our channel and give this video a like. It's crucial to get exclusive access to the latest updates. Paul Goldschmidt, one of the most respected and consistent sluggers in modern baseball, has reportedly announced his retirement, and the baseball world is buzzing with reactions, speculation, and a sense of disbelief that such a steady presence in the game is finally stepping away. This isn't just about a player calling it quits. It feels like the end of a particular era in Major League Baseball, one that saw Goldschmidt represent everything fans want in a professional athlete. Work ethic, quiet leadership, consistent production, and a kind of old-school dedication to the craft of hitting and fielding. For Yankees fans, his final stint with the team makes this news even more intriguing, because while his legacy was largely built elsewhere, his last chapter in pinstripes adds a special layer of mystique to the story. The chatter around his decision to walk away at this exact moment suggests that the choice may not be as simple as just age or declining performance. Whispers are floating about possible behind-the-scenes factors, whether physical concerns, clubhouse dynamics, or even the sense that Goldschmidt wanted to control the narrative of his departure before the game decided for him. It's worth remembering that Paul Goldschmidt wasn't just any player. He was a perennial all-star, a Gold Glove defender at first base, a power hitter who also brought discipline and patience to the plate. From his breakout years in Arizona to his MVP campaign in St. Louis, and now to his short but meaningful time in New York, he embodied the model of consistency. He wasn't flashy or loud, and that's partly why his retirement feels so surprising. Players like him don't usually step away quietly. They're often pushed out by time. Yet here we are, with Goldschmidt choosing to bow out seemingly on his own terms. The rumor mill is feeding off this, with some claiming he's leaving opportunities on the table, while others speculate that he simply felt the grind had taken enough of a toll on his body. Fans are split between sadness at the loss of one of the game's true professionals and respect for his decision to step away before decline could overshadow his incredible resume. In the Yankees clubhouse, the news has reportedly hit hard, as teammates describe Goldschmidt as the consummate professional. Even though his tenure in New York wasn't as long as in his previous stops, his impact was immediate. Players spoke about how his preparation, his quiet guidance, and his willingness to mentor younger guys left a lasting impression. Insiders suggest that his decision wasn't sudden, that whispers had circulated for weeks, but the official word still landed like a shockwave. For the Yankees organization, it's a bittersweet moment. On one hand, they had secured a proven veteran presence who still had something left to contribute. On the other, they now face the reality that one of the key pieces they were counting on for depth and leadership will not be returning. In a city that magnifies every sports headline, Goldschmidt's retirement has already become one of the off-season's defining stories, especially given how beloved he was by teammates and respected by rivals alike. Fans across baseball are now reminiscing about Goldschmidt's legacy. The highlight reels are resurfacing. The towering home runs, the clutch hits, the slick plays at first base that saved countless errors for his infielders. Yet what people keep coming back to is not just the statistics, but the way he carried himself. He was never embroiled in scandals, never made headlines for the wrong reasons, and rarely sought attention outside of what he did between the lines. In today's sports culture, where personalities often dominate the narrative, Goldschmidt's understated style is being celebrated all over again. Social media is flooded with messages of respect, not just from fans but from former teammates, opponents, and coaches. The sense is that the game is losing not only a great player, but also one of its most grounded ambassadors. That's partly why his retirement feels different. Like a reminder that even the most reliable constants in baseball eventually step away, leaving us all to reflect on how much they quietly meant to the sport. Of course, the rumors don't stop at just physical fatigue or age. Some suggest there may have been subtle tensions behind the scenes, not necessarily dramatic feuds, but the natural friction that comes when a veteran star transitions into a smaller role. Did Goldschmidt feel like his time in the lineup was being managed more than he liked? Did he want to avoid the possibility of being relegated to part-time duty? These questions are fueling debates on talk shows and across fan forums, with no definitive answers in sight. Others argue that the Yankees' unique pressure cooker environment may have accelerated his decision. Playing in New York is not the same as playing anywhere else. And while Goldschmidt never publicly complained, it's possible that the relentless scrutiny played a part in convincing him that this was the right time. Whatever the reason, the retirement has left fans speculating endlessly because very few saw it coming so soon, especially after flashes that suggested he still had quality baseball left in him. Now, the conversation turns to what happens next for Goldschmidt and how the Yankees will fill the void. Retirement doesn't necessarily mean disappearing from the sport. There are already whispers about possible roles in broadcasting, coaching, or even front office work. Goldschmidt's baseball IQ has always been praised, and many believe he would be a natural fit to mentor the next generation in some official capacity. For the Yankees, this development forces them to reconsider their roster plans. They counted on Goldschmidt not just for production, but also for the intangible value he brought in steadying the clubhouse. Replacing numbers is one thing. Replacing presence is another. As the dust settles on this announcement, the story feels like it's only just beginning. Goldschmidt may be walking away from the field, but the conversations, the speculation, and the appreciation of his career will linger for a long time. His retirement is not just a headline. It's a turning point, a moment that forces both fans and the Yankees organization to reflect on what's lost and what's to come. The reaction to Paul Goldschmidt's retirement has been explosive, and not just among Yankees fans. Across baseball, everyone is weighing in, and the takes are as hot as you'd expect. Some say this is a perfect exit, a player leaving while still respected, while others argue he's abandoning a Yankees team that could have used him for one last playoff push. It's funny because that's always been the narrative with New York sports. Every story becomes larger than life, and Goldschmidt's decision is no exception. Talk radio hosts are already dissecting whether he truly had enough left in the tank, or if this is a case of a veteran reading the writing on the wall. The rumor mill hasn't slowed down either, with whispers that maybe he was nudged into this, maybe subtly encouraged to make way for a younger, cheaper option. True or not, that kind of speculation will stick because New York thrives on drama. What's undeniable is that this is one of those rare retirements that leaves everyone talking, not just about the numbers, but about the timing, the motives, and what this means for both the Yankees and the sport at large. When you really think about it, Goldschmidt's career arc is almost storybook. From a relatively unheralded draft pick to one of the most consistent first basemen of his generation, he built his reputation on grit, fundamentals, and reliability. He wasn't the loudest guy, he wasn't the flashiest superstar, but he was always there, always delivering, always the player you could count on in big moments. That's why the decision feels so strange, because he didn't look like a player who had completely lost it. Sure, he wasn't putting up MVP numbers anymore, but even in his late 30s, there was plenty left in the tank. This is what makes fans suspicious. Why now? Why walk away when there were still home runs left in the bat, still diving plays left in the glove, still mentorship to offer the next wave of Yankees talent? For a city that thrives on narratives, this feels unfinished, almost abrupt, as though Goldschmidt is closing the book while readers are still deep in the story. Maybe that's what makes it so powerful. He's leaving with an aura of mystery, a final move that leaves people guessing. Social media has turned this retirement into a kind of virtual memorial service for his career. Former teammates are posting heartfelt tributes, opponents are praising his professionalism, and fans are sharing highlight clips with captions like, "one of the most underrated of his time." What's interesting is that you rarely see this much love pour out for a player who was never the face of the league in terms of marketing or attention. Goldschmidt was always in that category of stars who did everything right, but never got the same spotlight as others. Now, ironically, he's dominating headlines because of how quietly he's chosen to leave. People are realizing in real time how much he contributed, how much he meant to multiple franchises, and how rare it was to see someone combine power, defense, and leadership so consistently. Yankees fans are divided between gratitude for his brief, but meaningful time in pinstripes and frustration that they won't see him anchor first base for another run. Across the league, though, the tone is clear: respect, admiration, and a bittersweet sense that the game just lost a true professional. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. And then there's the big question: what comes next? You don't just walk away from the game after more than a decade at the highest level without some kind of plan. Some insiders are already hinting that broadcasting opportunities are lined up. Goldschmidt, with his calm demeanor and sharp baseball mind, could be a natural on television or radio, providing analysis without the noise and ego that often clutters sports commentary. Others think he might prefer coaching, where his quiet leadership style could shape the next generation of hitters. There's even talk of front office roles, because the way he studied pitchers, the way he understood the rhythm of the game, made him almost like an extra coach, even when he was still playing. The Yankees themselves might keep him around in some advisory role, if only to capture that wisdom and pass it on. One thing feels certain: Goldschmidt doesn't strike anyone as the type to just disappear onto a beach somewhere. Baseball is in his DNA, and while his playing days may be done, his presence in the sport almost certainly isn't. Fans are already waiting to see which path he chooses next. For the Yankees, this retirement isn't just a headline. It's a curveball in their off-season plans. They counted on Goldschmidt for more than his numbers. His presence stabilized a lineup full of younger bats, still learning how to handle the pressure of New York. He was the kind of veteran who never panicked, never overreacted, and that calmness had ripple effects throughout the dugout. Now, Brian Cashman and the front office face a critical question. How do you replace someone like that? You can find another bat, sure, but finding another Goldschmidt, the player and the presence, is nearly impossible. The Yankees are already linked to trade rumors and free agent names, but whoever comes in will immediately be compared to the veteran who just walked away. That's the burden of being in New York. The spotlight doesn't dim, even in the offseason. And Goldschmidt's exit, timed the way it is, forces the Yankees to accelerate their decisions, rethink their depth, and perhaps even chase bigger names than they originally planned. His departure doesn't just change his story. It alters the entire direction of the team's winter strategy. At the end of the day, though, this feels less like a loss and more like a moment of appreciation. Paul Goldschmidt walked his own path, built his career with consistency, humility, and excellence, and now he's leaving on his own terms. That's rare in sports. Most careers end with decline, injury, or an unceremonious release. Goldschmidt is choosing something different. He's choosing to step away while his legacy remains untarnished. The debates will continue, of course. Fans will argue about whether he had another year left in him, whether the Yankees should have convinced him to stay, whether something behind the scenes pushed this decision. But the bigger picture is clear. He'll be remembered as one of the best first basemen of his generation, a player who made every team he joined better, and someone who embodied what fans want a game to stand for. The pinstripes may have been his final uniform, but his impact stretches far beyond New York. His retirement is the closing of a chapter, but also the beginning of the legend. Baseball and its fans won't forget Paul Goldschmidt anytime soon. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.